The evolution of your marketing will be the catalyst for the evolution of your business, and the evolution of your business will provide you with the freedom to focus on the evolution of your life. This is Evolved Marketing with Andre and Brian. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Evolved Marketing Podcast. My name is Brian Brewer. I have my co-host with me, Andre Jermachev, and a very special guest today. So we're very grateful to have you here today. So the internet world, it's kind of a weird thing. I think of events that I've been to over the years, and you go to these live marketing events sometimes, and you run into people that you feel like you know. And then when you start talking to them, you realize you only know them from Facebook, or you only know them from Instagram, or you only know of them from reading their comments. It's kind of a weird thing. That's kind of how today's guest is. Today's guest that we're going to bring on, feel like I've known for quite a while, although today will be the first time that we have actually spoken face to face. But the reason I feel like I've known this gentleman for a while is because I absolutely love following him on Facebook. And the reason is because I love the way that he approaches his business and affiliate marketing in general. He's what I like to call a true student of the game. He asks questions, he does research, he tests, he asks other people about their tests, and as a result, he has become very, very successful. Now, he is one of those folks who happens to be in the legendary marketer ecosystem. What's interesting is he's been in the legendary marketer ecosystem since 2018, and he has been in this whole digital marketing game since 2011, doing a wide variety of things. So when you take into consideration the amount of time he's been in the game and the way at which he approaches his business, I think we are in for a fantastic treat and in for an episode where we stand, myself and Andre included, to learn a lot. So without further ado, let's welcome to the Evolved Marketing Podcast today's guest, Alex Ford.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Andre. Thanks for having me on here. And that was an amazing intro, Brian. I really appreciate it because what you said there about getting to know people online and you feel like you know them, I feel exactly the same way about both of you. In fact, I know we haven't interacted much, Brian, other than, Facebook group messages, but I feel like I know you. I've learned so much just from watching what you do and following your stuff and being in your Facebook group as well, which I know you both have great Facebook groups I'm part of. So yeah, appreciate both of you. Andre, I watch you a lot as well. I've learned so much just from watching and, love you guys. You guys are awesome.
Well, the feeling's mutual.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about, social media and everything. You can just consume content from everybody, right? And then learn from them. You don't even have to talk to them. It's nice to make that connection, but you can just learn so much by just consuming the content of people.
And that's a cool little tip. I mean, I know we're probably not getting into the content yet, but just because you said that, like when you reach a certain level of success, right, you realize, I don't have to invest so much money in education because all the answers are out there. If you just watch someone for a month and just what are they doing and analyzing, you can pretty much know exactly what they're doing to duplicate it and get results. I mean, I still recommend investing in yourself. But when someone's new, people don't get that. It's strange how once you've had a level of success, then you realize you can do that.
Yeah,
but like otherwise, when you're new, you don't get that. You don't
it's like when you first get started, it's nice to have that course or that program that puts everything in an order for you and right there in the same spot, kind of like a hub, because in the very, very beginning, you don't know what you don't know, and that's just a very dangerous and scary place to be. But like you said, to your point, once you start getting a general idea of what you need to do in order to make this whole thing work, yes, it's absolutely all about analyzing what works in the market. And, this is kind of some of my backstory when I first found Alex Becker online, who's kind of one of the OGs and one of the most successful digital product marketers. And now he does software in the game. And that's kind of what I did. I just kind of watched what he was doing. And you learn so much by watching. And one thing I always say is stop doing what the guru tells you to do and just do what the guru is doing, right? Read between the lines and figure out what works, because these people who are making money online, guess what? they're using their best secrets. They're not using them, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? That's hilarious because I've seen so many gurus tell people to do the most ridiculous things in terms of marketing, but they're not doing it. And they're sucking everyone in. Like not guys like you guys, like us. Like I believe in honesty and integrity and truly helping people. But then there's all these fake gurus that they'll tell people go and do this. They wouldn't even come close to touching that strategy, right? It sickens me, firstly. But yeah, anyway.
I mean, it's like when you have a bad boss, right? The boss tells you, do as I say, not as I do, right? Because the boss doesn't do the right things. You know, the boss will tell you to do the right things, but most likely the boss is not doing the right things. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So let's go back to 2011. You know, what got you starting your online business, or the first time you started looking online, or what else you should be doing?
Yeah. So that was one of the suckiest times of my life, as I think it was for most people when they find something. So at the time I was like a frustrated, underpaid office worker. I was working for this manufacturing company. They did like kitchen manufacturing and stuff. And I was like an assistant manager in that company. So I wasn't necessarily too down the, corporate ladder, you could say, but it still sucked. It was an unfulfilling job. I was working 12 plus hour days. Was in $50,000 debt. I used to argue with my boss often as well. Don't know why I never got fired. Pretty much, Groundhog Day every day, doing the same thing, same routine, getting up, going to work, coming back, watching TV, going to sleep. It was stuck in 2 hours a day in traffic, 1 hour there, 1 hour back. So I lost 2 hours. I haven't even done numbers how many hours per year I lost doing that. And, life was just so frustrating. I had this little dream always that maybe most people do, of one day being successful, one day making money. Maybe I didn't have this, but a lot of people probably dream about winning the lottery, right? Eventually. But I just always felt stuck. I just never found a solution to get out of there. And that manifested in self-destructive behaviors in myself, right? Going out on the weekends with friends. I'm not going to go into it here, but just destructive stuff on the weekend that I came close probably to losing my life a few times with what I did. All because I just had no vision or passion or anything I could look forward to in my life. So that's, for me, why I started looking. Actually didn't even start looking. It was just out of accident. I attracted an online business. It was network marketing at the time. And I didn't know you could make money on the internet. And this is still 11 years ago. So it was still new. But I love the idea of making money from home, being able to make significant money as well online. And the biggest thing that appealed to me was, one day I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have a wife. I wanted to have children. And I wanted to be able to be there for my kids when they were born, when I had a family. Because as a child for me, my dad wasn't really there much. He worked the job, lots of hours as well. And when he came home, he had a church. So then he went to another job, basically. And I don't remember any time when my dad said, hey, as a kid, hey, let's play together. Let's play with your cars or anything like that. Which for me, even to today, it's a sad thing. I wish I had those experiences, and often makes me teary, which is kind of feeling that, right? But for me, it was like one day when I have a family, I want to be there for that. I want to give them what I never had as a child. So anyway, I decided to get started, and I had some initial trial and error and stuff like that anyone goes through. But it took me 6 months to make my first sale online, $900 commission. And when that came in, that was my first commission. A lot of people make $1, $2 commissions, right? So for me, 900 for the first one. Just you as well, Brian. Wow. It was just like, woof, like the possibilities just hit you like a freaking truck like a Mack truck. Yeah. And you just realize, man, this is for real, right? And you're really sold into it. So anyway, 2 years. I'm going more into the story now. Did you want me to continue with the story?
Please continue. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So anyways, 2 years into the business, I was making $10,000, $20,000 months in my business because of the person I became in this industry. It requires developing yourself into a leader, developing confidence, all of this and all of that. And who I became allowed me to attract my wife, Beautiful wife, started a family, and been able to travel the world, together as a family as well. And I've been able to, pay for them to come with us. So my life totally changed. And then 3 years in, I was able to fire my boss and never work a 9 to 5 again, which that was 2014, and literally 2023 now, and I haven't had to go get a job. So, life has changed. So that's a little bit about, before and when I found the online business industry.
I mean, that's amazing. First of all, congratulations on, 3 years, right? 2011 to 2014 to go from this idea to not only a completely different person, but to really financially independent. That is a success, and a realistic success. So congratulations on that. It took me 4 years, and I followed a lot of the same paths that you did. There were a couple patterns that you talked about that you probably saw me making some notes down here. And the reason I want to talk about these patterns, Alex, is because we see these patterns come up in our stories, and we see these patterns come up in the stories of other people who are successful or ultimately find success with this whole game, as I like to call it. You talked about doing for other people, right? Having the idea that, hey, maybe someday I would want to have a family even before you did. The idea of, hey, when I do have a child, boy, I sure would like to be able to play with them, whether it be cars or dolls or whatever probably their interests were. And that was important to you. Because this is a pattern that comes up time and time again, how instrumental do you think that was to your achieving eventual success? Thinking about doing for other people, not just making the money so you can get the things.
It's huge. And I'd probably say that's the one thing that's kept me doing this whole time. And Brian, you're good at picking things out, because no one's ever picked out that pattern in my story. But like, a lot of people do come into this to make money. That's their initial, I just want to make more money. I think that's totally fine. Like, that's what most people, and for me, big degree, that's what I started with. But eventually a shift has to happen where things are bigger than just you, bigger than just money. And when that shift happens, it becomes, I don't know, I've never really shared this like this, but it just becomes something more powerful, right? Really, down to your core, that just allows you to take this more serious than just a little hobby or just a thing I'm trying, right? And yeah, for me, it's like when I mentioned destructive behaviors that I had because of my 9 to 5. For me, one day having a family, wanting to have a family, wanting to have kids and a wife, that was one of the things that helped me to get out of that. And then, the business helped me to really have a clear path. Okay, this is what's going to help me to, transform my life. So I don't know. It's an interesting question, but I just think when you start doing things for other people, especially people you love and you care about, it's the biggest driving force, like to drive you. It's like one of those
keeps you motivated, correct? I mean, it keeps you motivated.
Yeah. So the one thing that just came to mind, right? A lot of people start an online business, and when they're new, they don't really have that motivation to do it, right? They might invest in a course. They might set up something basic, maybe half a funnel or something. But then they'll stop, or they'll quit, or they procrastinate, right? They won't do anything, even though their goals and dreams should be the most important thing. But then if they went to a job the next day and the boss said, hey, I need you to set up a funnel for me here, I'll show you how to do it. It's for our business. That employee is going to do it for someone else. So it's just like when you figure out, who else can I do this for in my life that I love, and it's also going to make an impact to me, but as a family unit, for some reason it drives you more than just saying, I just want to make money, right? So anyway, that's what comes up.
Yeah. So what do your kids think about what you do now? Now that they're a little older, right? Because my daughter is 6 years old, and she doesn't really ask me, Daddy, what do you do, right? So what do they really think when you're showing them, you're making those videos? Because I also see
your daughter is 6 years old. Did you say?
Yes, my daughter is 6 years old. Yeah.
That's a big question because it's amazing. Like my kids have known me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, Andre. No, it's been, yeah, because she would have been still a bit older. But my kids have never known me or their mom to work away from home ever. And a couple of years ago, I had this conversation with my daughter, and I'm like, "Do you realize?" And explain to her, one, what people like, what their friends' parents do. You know, they get up at 6 a.m., they get ready, 7 a.m., they go to their job. You only see them for a bit in the morning, and then they come back, you know, late. They pick you up. You might see them for 30 minutes at night. They go to bed. And I had to really explain it in detail. And when my daughter understood it, she goes, "Really?" Like, she could not believe it because she's just known us. She thought this was normal, right?
Yeah.
So being able to see the online world, I've been creating content since probably about 2015 properly. So she's grown up around this. And we're big in teaching them, like, just a lot of things. Like today, we were having dinner, ordered pizza delivered, right? You know, stuff many families cannot do. Pizza delivered. We had our pizza on our balcony, and as we were eating, it happens often. Brought up a conversation of helping my son's 6, my daughter is 9, helping them understand trading time for money versus making leveraged income, right? And we use, I know, kind of going off track here a little bit, but anyways, I'll come back to it. But, you know, I said to the guys, "Hey, you know, let me ask you a question. If you earned $10 every hour and you went to a job for 10 hours, how much money would you make?" And they thought about it. My 6-year-old goes, $100. He figured it out. I was like, I didn't think he'd be able to figure that out. And we had a whole conversation. We went on to have a conversation about, well, hey, look, if you sold 100 toys, if you sold 10 toys at $100 each, how much would you make? My daughter's $1,000. And it might take you an hour to sell that, right? So having this conversation of trading time for money versus leverage income. So the point of this is we've grown up the kids in a point where often we'll have little principles that we can teach them. Right? A few weeks ago, I make a video and I put it on Instagram, taught them at the dinner table about the law of attraction, right? And they understood it. So for them, they're growing up in this environment where they understand business, they understand money, they understand that working a job isn't going to provide a lot of finances for you. My daughter is setting up her YouTube channel this year. We've been working on the YouTube cover, who someone's designing as well. I taught her. She sat next to me while we went through the Upwork process to find someone to outsource, to pick someone to outsource, to pay, like the whole process. Our kids are absorbed in it, right? So to your question, how is this impacting our kids? Oh my God. Like, one of the biggest things I recommend for parents as they build their business is get your kids involved, right? Even if they're just hanging around, watching you do what you do. You know, like if my kids were up, I wouldn't mind them being in this room somewhere listening, because that's going to impact their lives and they're going to grow up with an understanding most kids don't have. And, you know, for me, my goal is when my kids when my kids finish high school, I want them to have made their first $100,000 online at least, because if they can achieve that by then, well, I'm not going to have to worry for their lives. I'm not going to have to worry for their finances. They're going to have options. They're going to know how to make money. And then no matter what, even if they want to go get a job, they'll still be able to create an income online. So it is a total game changer. And if I didn't go on this journey of developing myself, of sharing this journey with the kids, my kids would just be following the traditional, go to school, get a good job, get good grades, and all that path. So anyways, long answer to your question.
It's super interesting that you say that, because you're showing them the skills that they need, right? And as soon as they learn those skills, they can apply it to whatever they want to do in their life. So it's awesome that you're showing them these skills like early on in their lives. So I'm for sure going to implement that.
That is gold, all right? So for us, a lot of parents is like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant, right? And that's what the kids know, but they don't really know anything in terms of sharing what, right? But it's like, it doesn't matter how small it is. If you show them what you're doing and how to do it, and even how do you hit record on a video on an iPhone or an iPad if they have one, how do you go into iMovie and just edit a little video? I showed my son who's 6 last week that. He didn't fully like get engaged, but he understood it. Right. And we edited a 30-second video together and I did it. Right. It's like when you implement little things here and there, one, it's quality time. And they're going to remember you for your entire life. Like when they're adults, oh, I remember those times when I used to sit with dad or mom on the couch and they used to teach me how to do these little things, right? But two, it's setting them up for their lives. And they're always going to remember, my mom, my dad, they helped me to create financial stability by teaching me skills and how to do things. But actually, what do you do? Not just the overall concept. Like, if you want to make money online, you create a YouTube channel, create content and start teaching people. Like if it's too like that, they're never going to get it. But when you teach them little things, but also teach them when they're going to enjoy and have fun. Like when we created the little video, it was a pretend mock YouTube video. And, in the video, we're like, we're going to crack an egg on his sister's head, right? And we didn't do it. But he laughed, he had fun, he thought it was hilarious. We added stickers over the video and a little introduction, and he's just loving it, right? But it's like if you take the skills with online marketing, business, and apply it in a way that they're going to get it and enjoy it, I mean, that's you being the best parent that you can be because you're instilling something into your kids that's going to help them for their entire lives.
Yeah, they can actually experience it. They learn. Yeah. Not from just what you tell them, but by watching, what you're doing and they pick up on your cues and, not only I think, are they going to learn the how, right? How do you edit a video? How do you do this? But also I think they'll probably start to pick up the work ethic as well, because let's be honest, creating content, it's work, coming on a podcast, it's work, it's time, and it's a consistent effort to grow your business. Now, you said when you were telling your story, you talk about 2015 where you started creating content properly, and you shared the story about how you were going to your daughter's 9, is that what you said, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
And you're going to start a YouTube channel, and you're showing your son who is 6 how to edit videos. So obviously, if I were listening to you right now and you were the guru who I was trying to learn from, and I was trying to read between the lines and say, okay, what is he doing? Not what is he saying, but what is he doing that's leading to his success? Then the first thing that would jump out at me is your commitment to content. So maybe if we could kind of shift gears a little bit and get into the little bit more tactical, like what is content to you? What has remained consistent since 2015 that continues to work? And where has the content game evolved in your mind?
All right. So firstly, when I mentioned I first got started in online marketing, it was with a network marketing company. And I just want to cover this quickly because they did not teach me content creation. They told me, go spam the internet, right? They didn't say it like that, but it's like work from home ads, like really spammy and make, X amount of money per sale and putting that stuff in Facebook groups, but it just looked really spammy. And, doing it in Craigslist, Facebook groups. And although that, is a lot of effort to make that work because it's very, very spammy. You do generate leads. And I was calling everyone on the phone, every lead. So Brian Andre, with the amount of leads you generate, right? I generate, depends on the day, 50 to 200 leads a day. Guys, 50 to 200 leads a day. If I was generating 200 leads a day this week, I'd have to get on the phone with all those 100 leads. A lot of them wouldn't answer the phone. They wouldn't call back. A lot of them will abuse you as well, right? And hang up on you. A lot of rejection. But that's the way I was building the business. And it worked with a lot of frustration, but I did it because it still made money. But I just never enjoyed that process. And then came 2015, I started seeing other people, create content. It was more YouTube videos on Facebook, blog posts. That was kind of the strategy back then. But I started watching a few people. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Like they're actually being helpful, right? And I learned some things I didn't know anything about marketing at the time. And I started following them like, wow, these people actually know about marketing. Like I'm learning stuff from them. The light bulb didn't go off yet, I was just like consuming some of their videos. This is really cool. This is really cool. This is really cool. There was one girl who I ended up going to her blog, watched a few videos, the blogs, and there was a link there. It was like, oh, online marketing education platform. I didn't say it was cooler than that. It's not a very good copy, but I clicked on it and I'm like, watch this sales video. This is cool. Like, learn online marketing, generate leads online, attract people to you so you don't have to be on the phone, make sales on autopilot. I bought it. It was like a $10 course at the time, right? And then probably like a day later, I was just like, the light bulb goes off. Oh my God, I haven't spoken to this girl once. I haven't got on the phone with her. She hasn't put any stupid ad in front of my face that's all spammy and salesy, right? I was just like, I just watched a few of her videos for a couple of weeks or something. I liked what she was putting out. I learned some stuff. And then I bought something off her without ever speaking to her. Never had I ever done that in my life. Never had I ever, had someone buy from me like that. The light bulb went off and I'm like, oh my God, this is the secret. And that's where I learned about content. And I started learning about it through this platform. And I started, doing Facebook Lives, putting out YouTube videos. And then within a month, I made 10,000 US dollars since I joined that. Wait, was it? Yeah, a month. 10,000 US dollars just by putting content on Facebook and on my blog, and like putting it on my blog, which I started quickly, put it on Facebook, and I'd made $10,000 just like that.
No sales calls, no tracking people down.
I was still doing sales calls through the other marketing,
sure.
But and I'll never forget, I was sharing blog posts, valuable stuff in just Facebook groups, and I got that first. I don't even remember how much it was. Oh, it was the first $150 commission. I think it was something, $100 commission without even speaking to this person. And that was just like, oh, I didn't speak to that person at all. I don't even know who they are. Right. So learning content changed the game for me. Yeah. And from then on, it's just always been a journey. How can I get better at creating content? And I'll share more practical stuff, but how can I get better at creating content? Because even till this year, I still struggled trying to get rid of this inbuilt habit of speaking to people, trying to follow up too much and all of that, which I built from back then, and it's slowly stripping that away. And now making a lot more sales, more fully automated, which is great. But anyways, I think that helps. I totally forgot the question. I could just keep.
That's all right. It's interesting because you started with this content, and then you talk about something that I love to say is kind of like a barometer or a temperature gauge for how my business is running. I tend to try to automate as much as possible because it allows for momentum to kick in, right? If you're out there talking to people and calling every single lead, momentum's never going to kick in. You're always going to be almost really trading time for dollars, just in a different way. So when I see a big commission come through and I don't even recognize the email list, right? You get that commission notification. Or email address, I guess I should say. You get that commission notification and it's $1,000 commission, and you look at the email address and the name, you're like, I don't even know who that person is. That's when like, okay, cool. The systems are humming along pretty good. And obviously you need a couple of things. You need some great content and you need a good affiliate partner. So, you were on YouTube and creating this helpful content and bringing people in. And is that what you were doing when you got started with Legendary Marketer in 2018? Was that kind of the idea, is bring people from YouTube into a funnel into Legendary Marketer? Or did you have were you still thinking about blogs? Like, I'm just kind of trying to really look at the evolution of your content over the years.
Yeah, sure. So when I started Legendary Marketer, it was because I had some issues with the network marketing company I was with. This is a good story, actually. I won't go too much into details with that, but I had a lot of challenges because when I was with them, 2015, I started learning content, started learning about funnels, and I created my first funnel for that company for myself and creating content, and had a lot of issues with them because they didn't understand funnels. They didn't understand that sort of marketing. And I had a lot of there was lots of leaders in that company reporting my content to the corporate company. I had to write all these long emails because they wanted to know how my stuff worked to make sure that they were going to be safe. And they basically slapped me on the wrist over and over again because they didn't want me to do. They wanted me to generate leads through one landing page, just name, email, phone, and all this, spammy text, and call them, and that was it, right? So for me, I ended up leaving that company because once I learned marketing and started learning, content creation and all of this stuff, and it was so much easier. It was so much more fun. I felt like I was contributing to people. And because I was having those issues, that's when I joined Legendary Marketer. So I'd already had some skills there. I mean, still had to set up the funnel and all of that. But when I joined, for me, I went a lot quicker. I think the first 3 months might have made 11,000 or more actually in Legendary. But that was because I had an existing email list, which, I started promoting to my email list, started creating content. I did Facebook ads as well, was another thing, which I don't do anymore because right now I just feel short video, TikTok, Instagram, that sort of thing is just super powerful. You don't even have to spend money. But anyway, yeah. So creating content, creating that funnel, having an email list, so having an existing audience helped to be able to make that happen. Of course, when someone joins a company like Legendary or even one like yours, Brian, most people aren't going to have that set up. So I also want to put a little disclaimer here. You don't have to have an existing audience to start making money, because some people are going to hear this and be like, oh, he already had an audience. Oh, but I didn't once. I had zero. No one knew me, right? But whether I already had some experience of being in the game longer or whether you knew, it's still possible to make money no matter what. It's just going to take a little bit extra setup time, but it's very quick to be able to start an audience online on social media within a few weeks even. So yeah, that was a bit of that transition there.
So I did a little bit of digging to your Instagram account. So I was scrolling down through your videos, and you weren't getting that much traction back in the past with like views and stuff like that. And then I don't know what happened, but out of nowhere, I saw like some type of an evolution with your content where everything just started exploding. Oh. And then your Instagram has more than 200,000 followers right now. So
337,000.
Wow, so see, there you go. See? Yeah. So
it's gone up quick.
What did you do to change your content from, back then to like right now?
Yeah. So, I want to mention something before we go into that, because firstly, some people watching this are going to be new, and I know the beginner mindset so well. So I want to clarify something, because some people are going to be watching this, never started a business, and they're going to be like, oh my God, I have to make videos like Alex and Brian and Andre to be successful. Right. So I want to first clarify something in terms of content, and then I'll explain the Instagram thing. Content, all that means is you're creating, could be short 5-second videos. Content could be you creating text on Facebook. Content could be you putting a picture quote on Facebook that you just download of Google and put a picture quote on Facebook. Right. So content is nothing complex. It's just putting something out there that's going to add value. Right. If you put one quote from someone else on Facebook, 2 lines, that's content that helps someone else. It adds value. It teaches them something small that helps them improve their life a little. And then as a result of you doing that and doing it consistently, you attract people to you. They'll be interested in your message, and they'll be interested in the products that you have to buy. So I just wanted to clarify that, because I'm going to talk about Instagram, and some of what I'm going to share might make people go, this is not for me. It sounds too complex. Right? Because I know just that word content in people's minds, as soon as you say that word, what pictures pop in their head? Big fancy cameras,
scared to go on video, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Getting on video, right? And for me, I've got this studio. I mean, I always like to say to people whenever I use this to go live, you guys don't need to have this. I've been doing this 11 years. This here is not content. Pulling out your phone and flipping on the camera, not even having to speak. You're just like, and then you put some text over it. That can be content, right? So I wanted to clarify that first. I think that's important before we talk about my Instagram. So going into Instagram, your question, Andre, 2015. Back then I was creating content. It was more long form content on YouTube. I didn't really do SEO at the time, which for some newbies, SEO is just a little bit more technical way of how do you research videos, to create videos, put them on YouTube. You have to do all this technical stuff so that it can be ranked. Like, I don't even recommend that for beginners. But that's how I was putting content, just putting out content. It wasn't even getting views on YouTube, really. That was 2015. And then fast forward to now, I've got Instagram. Even a year ago, I was just making random pieces of content, that ideas out of my own head, and just make the videos, put it on Instagram. It never grew. It never got anywhere. Even with like Reels. But I posted, right? And I still developed a skill set in that, even though I didn't know what I was doing, how to get views. The fact that I did the process of let's just put content out there, even if you don't get the views, I got more confident on camera. I got better at articulating things. And then what happened was about 4 months ago, I was doing a lot of other things in my business. I was doing coaching. I had my own courses, other affiliate programs. And I got to a point where it was too overwhelming. And I decided I'm going to close all that down. I'm just going to promote this one product, which is, the 15-day challenge. And I'm just going to, I didn't want to do TikTok or Instagram, like Reels. I know everyone was doing. I was seeing you crush it too, Andre. I was like, it's not me. It's just this short video thing. It's uncomfortable. But then I decided, I was just like, okay, no, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to give it a go. And then what happened is I started creating content, TikTok and Instagram, just repurpose. So it's all the same content. But because I was like, I don't want to do this TikTok thing. So I'm going to try to be a bit original, right? I'm going to be a bit cool in my videos, a bit cool in my content, not do what everyone else is doing. So I started doing that and, put cool music in the background and all this stuff. And I wasn't getting many views, right? And I think I did that for about 3 weeks, roughly. Was it 3 weeks? No, it was about a month. And within a month, I got a couple hundred subscribers or something on there. It just went really slow. And for me, I was like, man, why isn't this working? Like, my content is cool. Like, it should be getting thousands, it should be going viral, right? And I was seeing your stuff, Andre, and you have this humor in your content, which I love. But I was like, this is not me. I don't want to be humorous. I don't want to look like I don't want to try to be funny because that's not me. I want to be cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, but he wasn't working after a month. And then it got to a point where I was feeling really let down. Like, it was just like, upset about it all. Pretty much had to cry to my wife. Not really, but so to speak. And then I'm like, I think I took a week off. And then I'm like, all right, do I want to grow my ego or do I want to grow my bank account? And I knew I can continue to try to be cool to build up my ego, and that's great. Or I can just let go of all these feelings of trying to be cool and just do what everyone else is doing. Like, literally just copy everyone else's stuff. And in this industry, it's actually okay to do that as long as it's in your own style. You're not downloading videos. Like, I'm not downloading Andres and Brian's videos and uploading them as my own. That's,
you're modeling. You're not ripping stuff off the internet. You're just modeling.
Exactly. It's a good idea. I should rip one of yours, Brian's, and then just, put like my head over your head. That'd be funny. No, anyway. So I'm just like, okay. Because I knew a lot of people had done that. And I don't know if you did that, Brian, Andre, in the beginning, but there's a lot of people who have done that. Just let me just do what they're doing, change the words up a little bit, change it a little bit in my own style, and just start posting consistently. So I did that. And I started being consistent with it. And then literally, I think it was 2 weeks in after I did that. Okay, I don't even know the dates now. But anyways, about 2 weeks in, one of my videos just started climbing, like out of nowhere. So I had 1,350 followers. And then 2 weeks in, this video just started, and subscribers just like, and you guys would understand the rush of just like 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 followers, 1,000, and you get to 10 and 20 and 30. And I got to 100,000 subscribers in like 2 weeks. After roughly 2 weeks after I decided to change my strategy and just stop trying to be cool. And it's like, wow, I'd never experienced that. All my accounts had hundreds or maybe a few thousand, no more than 10,000 subscribers each. Anyways, huge rush. And then I don't remember what happened. I think it was like, it went for a month roughly. And then I had to stop. I don't remember. I think it went for 3 weeks and then 100,000 subscribers. And then I stopped for a week because I had to focus on some personal stuff, but the followers just kept growing. And then a week later, my account was at 200,000 subscribers, right? So this is basically 2 months after I started trying to be really cool with my content. 200,000 subscribers. So it basically increased 100,000 subscribers for a week, without me doing anything. It just continued to grow because of the virality of it. And all of this happened. One, I just started modeling what other people were doing, basically just copying their content in my own style. And then just one video went viral. And then when that one video hit, all your other videos start gaining tens of thousands of views, right? So anyway, incredible journey with that.
Yeah,
then,
it's amazing. And I want you to continue your story here, but it's just, you're someone who's been in the game since 2011 and you've seen success and seen ups and downs just like we all do. And you said something like, this might not be an exact quote, but like, it should be going viral. And I think that's where people struggle after that first initial success is they're like, well, I did it once, everything I do should work. And that's just simply not the case. What works is what works, right?
Exactly. And, after like when I started doing these, TikToks and Reels, I literally treated it like I was starting again. And it felt like I was starting again because I had a funnel and that, but setting up a funnel can take a week, like your marketing system, right? But once you have your funnel, then it's just focusing on traffic. And I was doing a new strategy, which literally I felt like I was starting. And I learned that beginner, cycle in the beginning, right? And one of the things I figured out, anyone that's new watching this, it's like once you have your marketing system set up, even if it takes you 2 weeks to set up, then it's just creating content and driving traffic, which is also people to that funnel. And when you start being consistent, your first month, don't expect any results. That's what I learned. Don't expect any results. In fact, expect to suck for the first month because it's like you said, Brian, when you start doing something new, you're like, it should work now, that I'm doing something. But the reality is, sure, you know what to do in terms of, I know how to shoot a video, I know how to put it on TikTok or Instagram. But the thing that doesn't equal mastery. It just means you know how to do it. It's like I can pick up a basketball for the first time in my life and learn how to bounce it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to win an NBA championship, right? The next week. It's like you're going to have to go through that process of sucking for, a few weeks, a few months. And that first month for me was just, continue to suck. But then after a month, once you've done that consistently, then you stop and you go, all right, what did I do? Great. I've developed some skills. I know how to post consistently. I know how to, get one video out, record it in 15 minutes. And then you go, okay, what are other people doing? And how can I start modeling what they're doing to improve what I'm doing? I wouldn't start doing that necessarily. You could do for that from the beginning, but first month, just go at it and be willing to suck. But then after that month, review what you're doing. And now that I have this new set of skills, how can I improve by seeing what others are doing and modeling their strategies and their content and heck, just copying what they're doing, but in my own way, right? So that's a big thing that I learned there. And then anyway, so with the whole content thing, and then I had to continue to, slowly step out of my own, ego, hesitations, uncomfortableness. One of the things I did is I had this video, like I was seeing other people being funny and stuff. And I literally, like, I don't have them here. So I wearing contacts at the moment. I have these other glasses that I use sometimes, which don't necessarily look funny. They're a bit more serious type glasses. And then I was seeing other people put content with glasses and it looked funny. Just the glasses looked funny. So I went and bought specifically some glasses from a, optometrist or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I just want to buy some glasses without the prescription. And I'm like, well, why? It's like, oh, because I make TikTok content. It's just for skits. And they're like, oh, okay. And they were so awkward about it. So I bought them and it was $30 or something, or $25. It was really cheap because they didn't have to do anything with it. I'm like, cool. Took him. And then I, did this video with these glasses, and it was just a short video, text over the screen. And I took the glasses off, still probably trying to be a little bit cool, but I put them on the table and they fell off the table. And then I'm like, oh, it kind of is funny. And I decided to put that video. I almost thought about redoing it, but I put it on TikTok and Instagram. That one blew up on Instagram. And I was like, what? Being funny worked? And that was the first time I realized being funny worked. So then I'm like, all right, how can I be more funny? So then I kept stepping out of my comfort zone and okay, let me be funny here. Let me be funny there. Let me try to like wear this hat sideways, wearing sunnies and being, like looking a bit dumb. And anyway, and the content just kept getting views and views and views when you're being funny. And that helped me realize, wow, like actually having fun, actually being goofy works, right? And I, anyways,
And
enjoying.
It makes a lot of sense because when people go on social media, right? They go on Instagram, they go on TikTok. They're trying to they're trying to laugh, they're trying to get entertained. They're not really looking, for a side hustle at the beginning, at least, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The first instance is they're just scrolling, trying to, forget about their day and
escape from their shitty day. Yeah,
exactly. So then when you start combining, entertainment with education and then showing them everything, all of that, it's called edutainment, right? That's what it's called now.
Yeah.
So people are going to start looking at that and you're going to start getting views and they're going to be interested in what you have to say. And at the same time, they're going to be educating and educated, and then they're going to be entertained. So it's amazing that you were able to find that.
No, exactly. And now it's just a game. Like, initially it's getting out. Like if someone doesn't want to be funny making videos, it's fine. Don't be funny. I know a lot of people that, I know you interviewed Em Walcott on here, I think a couple of weeks ago, roughly. And she just records her everyday life, right? Washing dishes, making a bed, being with the kids. And, for a mom, that's great because she can just do it in her everyday life, right? It's not thing. You don't have to be funny. But for me now, it's a game. Like it literally is, how can it be funny? And insert little funny things here. Put a TikTok in Reel yesterday, I think. Yeah, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And it was, you guys might know it. It's the, did you know that you can get paid to read books or something like that? And literally, I think it started, here's, what was it? Here's the side hustle I bet you didn't know about part one. Did you know you can get paid to read books? And literally within that section of, did you know you can get paid to read books? Because I still spoke it to a camera. But then what I did is I recorded myself with this big stack of books, like huge stack. And then I'm holding it and I'm like, oh, crap. Like I dropped it and they just smash on the floor, right? And then I kind of get up and kind of look at the camera, just like dazed in a way. And I inserted that over as just a B-roll, like on top of that section. I did that. And then towards the end of the video, I did it again, held the books. And this time I'm like kind of like shaking them nervously. And I go, what did I say? The next side hustle is even easier. So, so hit follow to make sure you get it. And then I kind of fall over with the books, right? So anyway, I posted, like I showed my wife and sometimes I'll show her. And if I get a reaction from her, I know it's a good video. She just cracked up, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I was going to post it last night, that whatever night it was. And he goes, you got to post it tonight. I was going to post it. Why not post it tonight? It's going to blow up. I'm like, okay, I'll listen to my wife. I posted it. And then in the morning, it had 80,000 views, not even 12 hours later, 80,000 views. And I'm like, what? Like, I think that's the fastest grown video that I've had go, at least within that period of time. Usually they take some time and they'll blow up a couple of weeks later, but 80,000 views in less than 12 hours, that's on Instagram. And the way Instagram works is you're going to get whatever amount of views first and then he stops. But then a few weeks later, maybe 2 weeks later, even a week later, Instagram's going to test that video out again for sure. And it's going to push it out even more. So the fact that he got 80,000 views in 12 hours, that's potentially going to be a 1 million view video for me. But anyway, going back to content. And I would say, Andre, I probably owe most of this, figuring this part out to you, because you are like hilarious with your content. Like you just, I can just tell that you have fun. You don't, it's not a job for you. And just seeing you just kind of like being awkward or whatever, like, to be funny and have fun. I adopted that as much as I can. And now, obviously, for me, it's just how can I be even funnier? Like, how can I make things more ridiculous and be more entertaining and all of that? And it makes doing what I do like child's play, right? And I feel like in the beginning, things are going to be somewhat, you got to set things up. There's going to be a lot of hard work, to get it done. People get it done as fast as you can. But once you get into that momentum, you can start playing around with things, start to be funny, enjoy it, fun. And when you get to that point, like seriously, like all you want to do is just work on your business because it is fun. And then that becomes a challenge, right? I build this business, income producing activities take me 1 to 2 hours a day. Sometimes it might take me more because I want to create more content. But it's like when you're having fun, you just want to do more of it. Like I could probably work 8 to 12 hours a day just creating content because it's fun, right? I don't because I got family and I'm glad that we don't have to. But it just becomes a game. And even yesterday, I went to the shops, to the mall with my wife because there's this TikTok we want to create that she found. So literally, we're going shopping to try to find this Hawaiian shirt and these funny looking sunglasses because we've got the skit that we're wanting to make. And now she's loving it. She's having fun. I'm having fun. I'm waiting for these sunnies to come in the mail so that I can create this skit because now it's a video that I know is going to go viral and I'm just hanging out. Like I would have done it yesterday if I had everything, right? But it's the beauty of working from home and actually, getting to a point where you can have fun doing it.
And that's the main thing. You're having fun. You get me? You're having fun doing that. It doesn't feel like work. When I used to manage people at the restaurant, I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to have a great environment in the kitchen. I want people to laugh, to be happy, to be able to work and enjoy work basically. So that's what I try to do when I make my content. Like I don't want to feel like I have to work anymore. You get me? Yeah. With doing this, it just makes it fun. It makes it more enjoyable. And as you can see from your experience, people love it.
Yeah, exactly. They do. It's just like, and then the other thing is kind of circling back to the family thing. Whenever I create funny videos, I show my kids and they just like crack up. They just think it's the funniest thing. And then I love that part too, because now it's like my wife's having fun because she's helping me out and find costumes and ideas. And my kids are having fun because they're watching the content and sometimes they watch it on repeat because they just want to keep watching the funny stuff, right? So it's just like, it just makes life great, right? It makes life good for you, it makes life good for your wife, it makes life good for your kids, right? And just makes everything amazing. And
it's just amazing how
in a job.
This thing that we fear oftentimes is what becomes the thing that brings everything together. Like not just together as a family, but together as like it puts all the pieces together of this dream life, because I was the same way. I was afraid to create content when I first got started. I waited until my wife took my kids to my parents' house for the week because I was so embarrassed to turn on that video. And when they were gone and out of the house and the house was empty, I turned on the video and I set the camera up with a fireplace in the background because I thought it looked kind of professional or fancy or whatever. It might have been the nicest part of the house we were living in at the time or whatever. I don't really know why I chose that. And I looked like a hostage standing there when I did it, but I just did it. And I was so scared. And now, like you said, to your point, Alex, my kids think it's so cool that I'm on YouTube. When I think you're a platinum affiliate with Legendary Marketer, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations on that. And
Thanks.
For those who don't know, you're a platinum affiliate with Legendary Marketer when you earn $100,000 in commissions with them. But what they do, one thing they do, which is really cool, is they send you a diamond ring with your name on it. And when I got that in the mail, my son was looking at it. He's like, that's so cool. He said, I'm just going to go put this in my room to keep it safe for you, Dad. So like they really buy into this business. And my wife, when she sees me go, or she listens to me go live in the home office, or she sees my Instagram, she thinks it's kind of sexy that people want to hear what I have to say. You know what I mean? So it's this amazing thing that you don't have to be afraid of. And really, I think the keys that I picked up when I was listening to you, Alex, is drop the ego is thing one. Test is thing two, right? Try new things. 3, don't get frustrated when it doesn't work for a week or 2 or 3 weeks. I heard you say you tried something for 3 to 4 weeks and it didn't work, and that was just it. That's just part of the process. If you do those 3 things, eventually things are going to work out. And as you said, it's all worth it, right? I mean, this whole business is just worth figuring it out, right?
Oh, it totally is. And on that point 3 about frustration, something comes up for me I learned many years ago. And whoever's watching this, write it down, because this is going to save you so many headaches. Frustration just means you need more knowledge on the subject. That's all it means. So for example, in that example, when I was, creating content, trying to be too cool and all of that, I got very frustrated toward the end. But then most people, what are they going to do? I quit. This is too frustrating. Frustration is normal. It's going to come up in your business. Right? There's going to be plateaus where you're just like, in beginning things are successful or whatever, and you get to a point where you're like, oh no, things are not working. Things are frustrating, right? But when you get to that plateau, you got to, 1, acknowledge and be aware, this is just a plateau. This is just frustration. There's something I don't know here. I don't know that I need to figure out. And you start looking for knowledge. I know, Brian, you said I asked a lot of questions. I asked a lot of questions, right? Even 11 years in, sometimes I ask 3 questions in a Facebook group that can help me, the Legendary group, the ClickFunnels group, the a marketing group, and I'll get the answer. I think I asked questions in your group, Brian. But then it's like, what's this challenge I have right now in this present moment, this one challenge that I'm having frustration around? And then go, okay, what's a question I could ask to find more knowledge around it? Who can I ask? What Facebook group can I go to? What video could I rewatch in a course? And then when you watch that knowledge, it's like magic. You're like, ding, it's like a light bulb moment. And you realize this is the one thing I need. And when you implement that, you might have to implement 2 things, test things and try them out. But when you've got that knowledge, now you're more prepared to figure that out, and your business starts continuing to have success, right? Which I think is like such an important key, because people don't know what to do with frustration. But if you just keep that in mind, frustration just means you need more knowledge on the subject. Find that knowledge, implement it, and like if you just use that for the rest of your life in your business, you're just going to continue to create new levels of success. And that's what I've done in my business just because of that one piece of knowledge.
Yeah, that's super amazing that you said that. I was actually taking notes of that. You told everybody, hey, make sure you write this. I wrote it down. So yeah. So I was looking actually at the stats for the podcast. We actually have 160 people from Australia. Is there
wow.
that actual listeners from Australia? So is there any advice that you can give people in Australia right now that they want to start maybe an online business?
Well, if they want to start an online business.
Yeah, like if they want to start, because we have 160 people listening right now. That means they're interested in this online world. So is there any advice that you can give them, those 160 people that are listening from Australia?
Right. Interesting. Because the funny thing is, I'm in Australia, but like 90% of my audience is in the US and Canada, which is interesting. So for me, it's just like I filter everything through that perspective of the US, but I do have conversations with people in Australia occasionally and stuff. I think the biggest piece of advice, and this would go for anyone in the world, really. It's not just Australia. Well, number 1, just get started. Like, what are you waiting for? It's like, have this thing. It's like some people are like, they think it's going to take a really long time to make money online. Like, months or years or whatever. I often say to people, have a longer term expectation, right? And 2 years is a great expectation to get to the point where you can make a full-time income. But a lot of people get very disheartened by that. But then I like to ask, well, where are you going to be in 2 years anyway? Still at your sucky job that dealing with the boss you hate? Of course, right? So it's just like, just start. Doesn't matter how long it takes, just start. That's going to help you start moving forward to creating success and changing your financial situation. And then the second one is specifically, I guess, Australia or anywhere outside the US. So for example, Legendary Marketer, the corporate company is based in the States. Brian, I know you have your company as well based in the States. And there's lots of businesses that are based in the States. A lot of people won't get started because they think, oh, this company's in the States. It only works in the States, but it doesn't, right? If you're looking at investing in a course, like a $7 course, a $10 course, free course, whatever it is, don't let boundaries hold you back in terms of countries, because what you're investing is your education, is in developing skill sets, and that works all around the world, right? And for me, like I mentioned, most of my income, like 90% of my income, comes from the States and Canada, right? I have some still make some sales in Australia, still make some sales in Canada, but that's just the way my business has gone. I know a lot of people in Australia, they might invest in some, a course in the US or a program in the US, and they're able to make money a lot in Australia, right? They're able to do that. So don't let those boundaries hold you back, because I do feel a lot of people do stop from getting started because they think it only works in the US or it only works somewhere else. It is not going to work here, but it absolutely works everywhere. And whether it's going to work for you or not really depends on your level on your belief, right? Do you believe it's going to work? That's the biggest thing, because if you don't believe it's going to work, it's not going to work. But if you believe it's going to work, it's going to work. And I'll give you an example. So I was at the Legendary Mastermind in December. I got to speak there. I know you guys have spoken there as well. So I was there, and I had this lady ask me, hey, sometimes I have people in Australia that want to build, this is more of a marketing tip too. They struggle to make sales, right? And they're like, how you're in Australia, how do you reach people in the US? Do you get a VPN? This is getting technical, right? But if you want to use TikTok and reach America, because TikTok it's
geo-targeted first.
Yeah, exactly. So if I put out content on TikTok, it's going to go to my city first, and in Australia, and then if it goes viral here, it might go to the US. So some people are like, how do you target the US? Like, I'm sure, the US is where people are making money, right? And I have people in Australia ask me the same time occasionally, every now and then. And I go, and then the other thing is, at that same event, I had another guy from the US speak to me, and he's like, he goes, he runs ads, I don't know, on Google or something. And he goes, oh man, all my money I make from Australia. Like, all my money comes from Australia. Australia's is a better market to make money. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, what about US? And I don't know, Australia's better. So it's like the opposite. And the other lady, I gave her this advice, which I would give this advice to anyone, right? Building a business online. So number one, people are always going to think that the grass is greener on the other side, always, right? And when people say that they want to target the US and how they can do it and get a US SIM card and a VPN so they can target the US, that is just an excuse for their lack of skill. That's all it is. Because they might have started building their business, doing TikToks, Instagrams, or like Reels. They might have been doing a month, 2 months, heck, even 3 months. And for someone new, they're still new. They're not creating super engaging content yet, and they will one day, but they're not. But when it's not working, their brain starts going tick, 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 ticking. Oh, the grass is greener on the other side. How can I target America? If I get my content shown in America, I'm going to start to make money. But that's the wrong thinking, right? The right thinking should be, no, I got to continue to develop my skill sets, because what's stopping me from making money, it's not the market that I'm targeting, it's my skill set. It's taking personal responsibility. And then the more you develop your skills, the better you get at creating content, the better you get at creating hooks. So how do you give that sizzling start and draw people in and create curiosity at the beginning of a reel? And then how do you hold their attention during that reel while adding value? And then at the end, how do you create an engaging curiosity, call to action to be able to tell them what to do next? When you figure out those ingredients, you can go viral wherever you want. You can go viral in Australia, and you'll never have to even target a US. You could be in Australia, and in the US, and you're not going to be thinking that you have to target another country, because you can make it happen. And then once you figure out that part, then you figure out, all right, now I'm generating leads in your country. how do I convert those leads now? How do I focus on a conversion process, right? And that could mean doing live videos, right? That could mean creating reels or content, even short form videos that are very specific to converting content, right? Because we're going over an hour, but I mentioned this quickly. With content, there's 3 types of content you can create. There's a real viral content, the ones that are going to go 10, 20, 30, 100,000, a million. Right? They're not necessarily going to generate you leads, but they're going to grow your audience. It's that viral content. And usually that's that step by step, like what steps do you take, how do you, get paid to read books? That stuff's going to go viral, and it's broad. It relates to most people, and you want to be creating that to grow your account, but that's not going to get you sales. Then you create number 2 is indoctrination content, right? So how do I create content now? So as my following is growing, start teaching them what is affiliate marketing? What's the benefit of affiliate marketing? How's affiliate marketing better than all these other strategies I've used to, create viral content? So it's indoctrination content, because now you want to start teaching people why affiliate marketing is better. And you might get some leads from that, but that's not necessarily going to convert into sales as much. Right? It will, but then you want to focus on the third piece of TikToks or Reels, which is conversion content. So now you've got your first pillar, and I'm making up a framework here as I go, but you've got your first pillar, which is your, viral content to grow your audience. You've got your second pillar, which is your indoctrination content to start teaching that audience about affiliate marketing. And then you've got your conversion content, which for me, that's more, maybe talking about how much money I made using affiliate marketing this week and how much is, what it's done for my family. Maybe it's, hey, I was on vacation over at the end of the year for, a week, and we still continue to make money. And here's a video with me and my family on vacation, right? Because that stuff is very emotional. That hits people at their core, and ultimately they want to make money and they want that lifestyle, right? Spend more time with their kids. So when you focus on those 3 things, now your business, you're going to be growing your audience. You're going to be building relationships and teaching them what affiliate marketing is. And you're going to be converting that content into leads and sales. So back to that question, it's like, a beginner and they're a month in. Oh no, my it's not working. Oh, how do I start targeting the US? That's the wrong question, my friend.
Right.
The question is, how do you figure, I've just given a little bit here as well, but how do you figure and improve and develop your skill set and figure out what are these 3 pillars, and then how do you convert, and how do you do all the other stuff so that then you don't have to look at the grass is greener on the other side. You can start watering your own lawn, start making your grass greener, and start converting sales in your own country. Then one day in the future, it'll just naturally go to other countries, right? But it's all about skill set and figuring out all these things in your own country. Anyway, I hope that kind of helps.
It's interesting how you talked about, these people who want to reach out to another country. And I don't know if this is the exact word to use, but it's an excuse. It's just an excuse. It's deflecting. It's something else's fault other than my own. And the other thing that I thought was really interesting in your explanation of the 3 types of content is the conversion content. We talk about viral content, we talk about indoctrination content, building that relationship, building that know, like, and trust factor at scale. But that conversion content, really, you said showing the results. It's really just showing the results of the work that you put in, showing the change that's going to happen. What are the benefits? What are the outcomes? And that's what really gets people to convert. So it was really interesting today, Alex, because I kind of introduced this as, my knowledge of you is how much you test and ask specific technical questions. But what I saw through the course of our interview is you have just this amazing mindset that has really been the ultimate key to your success. And it just really proves again and again and again that in this business, the technical stuff, that's the 20%, right? And once you figure that out, it pretty much doesn't change. Really, it's the 80% mental game that's going to make the difference between seeing success and having the dream life and failing, getting frustrated, and giving up. So it was just an amazing interview. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on here. Before I go and see if Andre has anything else, I just want to ask you, is there anything, Alex, that we can offer you in exchange? Is there anything that we can do for you to thank you or to help you out?
To help me out. Okay. I have a question. And I think this is also a good question because I know not just beginners watch this. I think this is going to be a good question because I've been having conversations with some other leaders that make good money, and there's always a challenge. Like, guys, business is not easy. Business is fun, but there's always challenges that you have to overcome, right? And for me, having this conversation with some other friends as well, you guys would know them, but it's when you get to a certain level of just how many leads you're generating and people are contacting you, it's like, man, how do you deal with this amount of people reaching out, right? And one of the things, I've been testing things and that and tracking numbers and all of this in what I'm doing, but it's like the messages, right? I mean, Andre, I'm sure you get so much traffic and people message. And one of the things I figured out through someone else at the mastermind, Sean, was just like, it was amazing. It's like, you get a lot of messages, but a lot of them are like, for example, the program that I promote, Legendary, it's not available in all countries. So it's like, I'm not responding to everyone now. It's like, I literally have my stats. And I actually don't know. I think out of my stats is for every 100 people that message me, I don't message 60 of them because I know the program's not going to work for them necessarily. And sometimes I will and offer other programs, but it's like, I'm going down to the quality messages. And then out of those, I might be sending messages to have conversations with and send them links. But when you're at scale, like literally you're getting hundreds of comments and messages a day, it's like, how do you handle that? And I'd love to know your perspective. Andre, I think you would probably have the answer for that. So I'll kind of share with you a little bit about two things that I started. Because when I first started doing it, I would just reply to people and be like, and got my wife to do it. Link in comments, see the link in comments, see the link in comments. But I feel that doesn't really create a relationship with people, and then it doesn't convert as well. And then I started just sending them copy-paste message, right? Hey, you made an inquiry. Here's the link, blah, blah, blah. I just feel that didn't work as well. But that was kind of the second phase. And then I was like, let me send audio messages. The third thing, right? So literally everyone, I was just like, hey, you're looking to be able to, start your own side hustle. Could you answer a few questions for me? Where are you from? What do you do? What are your goals? To kind of give me some info. But I was sending audio messages to everyone. And I quickly got burned out doing that after like 2 or 3 weeks because it's just so many. And then I go to the next phase where I'm like, all right, let me just send them an initial message. Hey, you responding to your comment, about what on this video. Yeah, I help people start their own side hustle, make an income online. Are you still interested? And then when they would respond yes, I would send them the audio message. So now I'm only sending audio messages to people that actually respond. And that worked well until my amount of messages increased again, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, Andre, how do you deal with that, man? Like, how do you manage your time in terms of managing those comments and still have a life? Like, I don't spend hours and hours doing it, but I'd love to know how you handle that.
Yeah, so it's definitely tough. I mean, when I first started, when my Instagram started blowing up, I was getting overwhelmed. Like, that's a feeling that it's a good feeling to have because you're getting so many people interested in
Quality
you.
problem, right?
But at the same time, it's like, oh, how am I gonna do this, right? Like, what am I gonna do? So you have to have, you have to basically qualify them. So you have to ask them some qualifying questions. One of the questions that I ask is, where are you located, right? That's one of the questions that I ask to see if they're able to purchase the thing in the first place. And for those people that cannot buy the training because they're not in the right country, I tend to send them to my YouTube channel. So regardless, those people are still gonna be learning exactly from me somehow in some way, right? Even though they can purchase it, I'm still gonna use their views. I'm gonna use their engagement in another platform as well.
And your subscriber base will grow as well.
Right, exactly. And then they're gonna be pushing out to more people. But then when you are getting so many messages, you need to have some type of script. I do the copy and paste system because it's just so hard to reply to everybody and make it customize everything for everybody. So just ask those questions, try to educate them through the questions, ask them if they know anything about the business. And eventually right now, it just got to the point where I was messaging people like 5 hours a day, right? So I'll spend 5 hours of my every single day, just messaging
But
people.
can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Would you still rather spend 5 hours a day doing that to be making the money that you're making, or working for 5 hours at a job?
Exactly. So
Right.
regardless of, it's a good problem to have. All those
Yeah.
messages is a great problem to have. You get me? That's what I'm saying. But then it does get to the point where you're doing it so often, you're repeating it every single day that you also get burned out. And I did get to the point where I was feeling burned out. So then that's when I started outsourcing. So now I have somebody that does the messaging for me. So
Amazing.
that if you get to the point where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling burned out, you might be time to outsource that task. That way
Yeah.
you are not the one actually spending all the time. And yes, you will spend a little more money into hiring somebody to do this, and hiring the right person. That's a different whole story,
Wow.
right? But I think that will help you, and then that way you have more time to focus on other tasks, creating more content and
Yeah.
doing other things, focusing on other projects. So that's the advice that I could give. I mean, it's a great problem to have.
Yeah. And I guess because new people are watching this as well, I want to mention this to clear up any confusion. Like, if you're getting started new, you're not going to have to outsource anyone in the beginning.
Right.
Don't go into this going, oh my God, I'm going to be on, chatting to people for 5 hours a day. Like, guys, Andre's making you're making like multiple 5 figures. What was that? 5 figures? Yeah. Multiple 5 figures per month.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at that point, like, guys, if you're making $20,000-$30,000 a month, you can spend a couple $100 or whatever it is a month to help someone work with, with that. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. And do you end up sending on average, how many messages do you send back and forth per person?
Oh man.
Might be sounds like maybe 3 or 4.
In one stand, let's say I have 199 plus requests on Instagram, right? I tend to go through the 99 requests and then I just take a break. Like, I just stop. And then,
no, I mean, sorry. So if you speak to one person, let's say you're speaking to John, they request, how many back and forths with John do you usually have now?
So when I first started, I was just replying once or twice a day to each message, just once or twice a day, because what I was trying to them to do is I wanted them to consume more content. So if I reply just once a day, then the person is going to be really interested, and then they're going to see that, oh, I'm not really replying anymore, right, for the day, for example. So then what are they going to do? Then they're going to start scrolling and looking at all my videos and getting more interested. Now, guess what? The next day, I send another message, and then boom, they reply right away. Hey, I was waiting for you, blah, blah, blah. But now you already like catch them, they're super interested. They saw more of your videos because you're staying consistent. If you post a video in the morning and you reply to the person in the morning, and then you don't reply to them, but then you keep posting videos, that person is going to keep watching your videos,
and they're going to be wondering, oh, how come Andre has to message me? He's posting, but they'll see. Brian, isn't this amazing about podcasts? It's just like, sometimes you get these little nuances that you don't get anywhere else. And I think the way he just said there is like gold. I haven't heard anyone say that. It's just like, respond once a day. Because it's very easy to go, oh, I got to respond them as soon as possible, right? But then going, no, I'm just going to stick to one time a day. It's just like, it gives you time as well, but you don't realize that there's a benefit in making them wait. Like, wow.
There's a huge benefit in making them wait because, if they're on the fence, now they're engaged, right? Now, it's like a cliffhanger. Or if you're writing copy and you're using open loops or anything, which we're not going to go into, obviously, but if you've heard of that before, it's like when there's an unfinished cliffhanger, like when there's something unfinished, it's all you can think about. Like, if your favorite show ends in a cliffhanger and the next episode doesn't come on until next Sunday, it's like you're talking about it at work, you're waiting, and all that does is just it just increase the desire, right? And that's the game. And just to kind of answer your question from my perspective, I don't message anybody. I give them a place where they can go find content. I use a lot of the free course model for my promotion, so now they got to go on there and consume content. And guess what? This gives them something to do to make progress, but I'm also, building more trust in the indoctrination, showing results, of course, as well. And then at the point where that's filtering out, it's qualifying people. It's qualifying the people who are willing to kind of think on their own and stand on their own 2 feet and move forward. Sure. And then guess what? When it's no longer, when they do have the question that that they need to reach out, they're basically at the point of making a purchase decision. At that point, they're in my free course. So now it's through email. And I can't tell you, Alex, how many times people send me one email and I just respond to one email. And 30 seconds later, I get the Stripe notification or the commission notification that they bought.
Get that all the time.
So what Andre said is really worth listening to again. So if you're on the podcast or watching on YouTube, rewind that and really consider what he said about messaging people once a day.
Thank you so much, Andre, too, because yes, that was gold. So appreciate it. And that too, Brian, because yes, my goal long-term as well is to just not focus on messaging. But I do also feel that there's a good opportunity there as well. So you can outsource it or something like that. So
cool. Well, we appreciate your time, Alex, and we wish you luck. And if you need anything from us, you can always reach out. We'll be here to help you.
Likewise, guys.
Thanks again, Alex. And thanks, listener, for sticking with us for an hour and 15 minutes or so. I think it was a fantastic episode, and we'll see everybody on the next episode of the Evolve Marketing Podcast.